He says, in a previous video, I recall Bradley saying that iFramed content from other sites on a page count as content. Is this still true? Yes, it's still true. And if so, do they count towards keyword density for the page they are on? For example, embedding a news article within a blog post on the money site. That's a really good question. I'm not 100% sure. I know Google will read the content through an iFrame because a lot of the stuff that I do with G sites, right? So Google sites, sites.google.com is I've got a specific vendor that I use now for Google sites. I'm going to bring that in house. I just haven't had the time to train somebody yet, but I'm going to end up bringing that in house. But currently, I have a vendor that I use to develop the G sites and the drive stacks, and they're one page G site with drive stack, right? It's all on one page on the home page of the G site. And I like to do that way now because I do all of my theme mirroring, which is essentially building, the same kind of silo structure in the G site that I have on my money site. And then I use that for what I call the content mirroring method, which we talk about in the mastermind. We gave that away, the training for the content mirroring method between Black Friday and Cyber Monday last year in 2021. Anyways, it's very, very powerful. And for that, all we do is create pages on the G site, and all the only content that's needed for those pages are embeds. They're iframes. That's it. We don't need any other text other than the title or the page title or the page title itself. That's the only text on the page. And then we also put a link. We interlink the pages within the silo by keyword anchor text links at the bottom of the page. And that's just to daisy chain the pages together. But that's it. All the content is iframed, right? I talk about this in the content mirroring method, but if it's for a local project, which 99% of everything that we do and all of our members do are in the local, we start with Google Business Posts, right? So if you got a money site, whatever content you have on your money site, if it's a long form landing page with jump links, which is my preferred method now. So table of contents links that jump down to the specific heading sections on the page. You could do it. You could use those as kind of like your target for a Google Business Post silo. Or you could do a traditional type of silo, which is a top of silo page and then supporting articles as posts, right? That are all kind of linking together and linking up to that top of silo page. So whatever, you just summarize that text. Either it's long form landing page and you summarize heading sections, or you summarize blog posts into each of its own individual Google Business Post. In other words, Google Business Posts can accept about 1,500 words of content, right? Or 1,500 characters, excuse me. So they're about 200 to 225 words on average. So we use those 200-ish words to summarize either heading sections on long form landing page or summarize blog posts in a traditional silo, right? So supporting posts in a traditional silo. So each Google Business Post is a summary of either a blog post or of a heading section on a long form landing page, right? So we daisy chain those Google Business Posts together, in what I call a mirror silo, right? Which links the CTA button over to the corresponding blog post or the section on a long form landing page, depending on which format you're using. And now you've got Google Business Posts. Google Business Posts can be embedded, guys. So now you've got, usually like 5 is what I don't know. That's just usually what I do is a 5 post silo. So now you've got 5 Google Business Posts that then you can create YouTube videos out of those text, right? The 200 words per post can be each a separate YouTube video. Then you create a YouTube silo, right? And use apps like wave.video or Pictory or any one of those types of Vidnami was one that used to be around. I don't think it's around anymore, but any sort of those like video apps that will create videos and do text to speech makes it very easy to produce videos from those Google Business Posts. So now you've got 5 Google Business Posts, 5 YouTube videos, right? They're all siloed together. And then you could start with just the Google site and then create pages. So 5 pages that are daisy chained together, right? And then you just embed the Google Business Post and the YouTube video. That's all the content you need. You don't need any additional content, right? You can also add a layer in between the YouTube and the Google site and do Blogger, do a Blogger mirror, right? So you kind of mirror the structure and the same sort of content mirror process with Blogger. And then again, you just embed the YouTube video and the Google Business Post, right? So now you've got Blogger that has got two embeds, the Google Business Post and YouTube video. Now you can iframe or embed the Blogger pages into the G site. So you see how you make like those Russian dolls, like one, there's a smaller doll inside a bigger doll. You know what I mean? Like the dolls keep getting smaller and smaller. That's kind of what you do with this, is create iframes that are like never ending. If you ever look between two mirrors, you stood between two mirrors and looked into one of them, you know how it's like smaller and smaller and just keeps going on until you can't see it anymore. That's exactly what happens when you do this kind of iframe stacking stuff. And so I started to tell you all that because when the G site, or if you add Blogger into that, when the Blogger gets indexed or when the G site gets indexed, it'll show in the rich, the meta description in the index content, even if there's no content on the page except for iframes. It'll pull in the content from the Google Business Post, for example. So yes, it absolutely reads it. Does it count towards keyword density? I don't know. That's a good question. I think it does. I think it does because I know that when I'm doing analysis, on-page analysis, and I'm using tools like Surfer SEO or things like that, and I'm analyzing a local business competitor that has like a bunch of reviews, and they have one of those Google review widgets that will show, a bunch of Google business profile reviews that kind of carousel through. They're like sliders, that just go through. Then oftentimes it'll show, the page might only have 500 words of content, but it'll show 3,500 words of content in the tool. And it's because it's pulling in all of those, the text from the reviews. So I don't know if it actually affects the keyword density, but I'm pretty sure that it does, Jasper, because, the more that I think about it now, I know that Google will read that content, and I'm pretty sure the tools also pull that in because I know that affects the word count, which is also kind of misleading. That's part of the reason, guys, it's interesting that you brought this up too, because I was just watching another webinar with Eric Lancheres of onpage.ai, and his tool is really good. It's expensive. It's freaking expensive, but I use this in link building for my link building service. But this is a great tool because the way that this does a lot of like what Surfer does, Surfer SEO does. It's got Google's NLP into it, so it will analyze content and tell you what the named entities are and what to do to tune the content. But this is also cool because it has the ability to do with like check backlinks and see how Google is categorizing the topics of the backlinks and things like that. But I brought this up because the way that he's generated this tool is to only analyze the text within the body, the article body of a page. Like, in other words, his tool specifically will not analyze like the headers, sidebars, and footers of a page. It will only analyze the article within the post body, right, or the article body of the page. And so this is a really good tool for that kind of stuff, guys, whereas some of the other tools will actually analyze the entire page. As I just mentioned, using something like Surfer SEO, it will oftentimes pull in, even though the page only has 500 words in the actual article body, it'll show like 3,000 words of content. And that's because it's pulling in content from review sliders or review carousels, sidebars, footers, all that kind of stuff. So, again, I think it does count towards that, Jasper, but I haven't specifically tried to test that. If anybody else knows, post, please. It's a good question.